Hello and welcome to another PAX podcast where we talk about people, partnerships, and professionalism. Today we get another dose of a little bit of professionalism, but a lot about people because to tell you about PAX is to tell you about the people because we have the best in the business. And I'm excited to introduce you to one of my favorites. And I say that with all of our drivers because they're all my favorites. But Larry Clark is a true professional, has been in the business for 12 years, I think 12, 15 years. So you'll clarify that as he goes through his backstory. For all of you today, we're going to find out his origin story, but also his PAX origin story and where he came from and his marketing background. And then we're going to talk about some good ideas that he's already implemented to help continue to grow his personal business and how he's using PAX to do that. So everybody, welcome Larry Clark to the show. Hey, Larry, thank you for joining me today.
How you guys doing?
So, Larry, your background is in marketing, correct? You and your wife, you guys own a marketing firm. Is that correct?
Well, we actually had a network marketing company. And as I said to you earlier, the one thing that we knew for sure when you actually have to go out and find business and find people, we knew that there were more people that we didn't know than we do know. So we didn't want to run our family and friends away from us. So we said, well, let's go out and get all the people that we don't know. And we'll never run out of people. Right. So we came up with some marketing ideas and plans. And when we put it together, then we implemented it together we were successful. We had, good 3-4 year run of success. So that was good for us. It was big for us. And so with PAX, I said, okay, I think we can do something similar to that to have some success. So that's where we are.
That's a great mentality. That's such that goes that parallels a lot of the messaging that we've been pushing as we begin our marketing run in PAX and really as we start to educate and invest in our family of drivers. One of the things that we've continued to reinforce in our education is you are your own business. We just want to help you build it. We want to be the tool that you use to help do that. So even when you're talking to not just family members, don't just go blast Facebook, the pool of people who already know who you are going, hey,
Yeah.
I'd love to drive you around. I love it. Well, great. I'll take a ride. But it's not every day. Otherwise your family friend will be like, hey man, stop selling to me. We're related, like we're friends. We live on the same block. Stop selling me.
Yeah.
What you want to do in terms of marketing is have that mentality and that strategy that goes, hey, I'm trying to catch new fish. I'm trying to grow my business, my regular playbook of people who call me their personal driver. And so that mentality of how to be strategic and to have a plan in place for that is really important because not a lot of people do have a plan for that, and which is why, and really the industry as we see it today is built to go, hey, you wait and I'll bring you a customer and then you can be happy about it. What PAX wants to do is turn that around going, hey, we'll give you the tool. Go find as many rides as you want to, build your own business and build your own playbook. And we'll give you the tools to help you do that. It's funny you mentioned that also, Larry, that one of the things we're going to be, and I didn't mention to you, so I apologize for springing this on you, but one of the things that we have planned is Jamie, if you're watching, drop something in the comments here. We have at the beginning, between the next 2 weeks, we're going to put a mini series together, just on like a mini series for Jamie to put 3 different subjects together to help all of our drivers kind of get that beginning education of going, hey, I've got to think about this entire game differently. I've got to go find new avenues. I've got, like, now that with the right tool, I can run out and go find, I don't have to wait for clients anymore. I can go find clients. And how do I do that effectively and professionally? And so she's going to put together a 3-part mini series that will also let me open up our chat here, see if anybody's jumping in to comment with you, Larry. Oh, and if you have a question for Larry, leave it in the chat. I'm monitoring that so I can ask him for you. But Larry, as people start jumping in and start warming up here, why don't you give us, we know that you were part of you and your wife owned a marketing firm, but tell us your driving origin story. Why did you start driving? And I also clarify for everybody, I think I messed that up. Is it 12 years or 15 years that you've been driving?
12.
12 years. So you've been driving 12 years. Tell us that story. How did you start driving?
Well, when the big crash happened years ago, back in 6, 7, 8, whatever that was.
Wait, I remember when that happened. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so my wife and I were caught up in that. I had a construction company. She was in mortgages, and she'd been in mortgages for 30, 40 years or whatever, and it all just went crazy. And the two things that we were doing that allowed us to generate income stopped. Oh,
That'll force you to reinvent yourself.
so we did, and so I started looking in the want ads or whatever, just to find some things that were different. But I had about 13 years at UPS, so I had a real good idea of running operations and that type of thing. And so I found something that dealt with driving. I mean, as far as a job goes, that UPS was probably the best job I ever had. You know, you're dealing with people, but you're dealing with logistics and packages and that whole type of thing. And so anyway, I knew logistics well. And so I started driving in the livery industry is what it was. So that was something new, but at the same time, it was all logistics, getting something from A to B and knowing, routes, numbers and directions and all those kind of things. And so anyway, I started driving, went to a company and started working for them. And at that time, you'd work 12 hours, whatever you made, you split it with them 50-50, and you kept your tips. So that's how it started. So you had to, knowing that you're giving up half of what you have, you
Yeah.
gotta try and make a big number that day. So we had 12 hours to make a big number. And then, you turn the car over to the guy that came in after you, and those things ran 24 hours a day. So that's how I found the industry, right? And so then it grows on you. You begin to love it. And then I found out that, okay, well, I can do my own thing, or I could go work for a couple different companies, which I did, just to really get more knowledge of the industry itself.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you what, I had some good guys that I worked with that actually taught me a lot. I mean, all of them pretty much taught me a lot. And just, with a lot of common sense and what I knew, I said, okay, I can put this together and I can make this happen. And so then probably about maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I actually started my own company into this arena, because I've always had companies, but I did this one, first class transportation. So that started up, and, I went and got my own car and that type of deal. And so from there, it's been good. And with the experience that we were talking about earlier, the marketing and all those type of things, my wife and I were talking one day, and she said, hey, maybe you should do something with, one of those mailings or something. And I said, that I've been thinking about that. It's been on my mind, but I just haven't. And then when PAX came along, which I actually found out about PAX from Jamil. And so, yeah, he was out on the street one day, and I was asking him about his vehicle. And he said, he was telling me about his vehicle, because I said, I think I want to maybe get one of those. I like that. And then he said, well, have you heard about PAX? And I said, PAX? What's that? Right. And so he laid it out. He explained that to me. And I said, okay, well, that sounds good, and I knew that, okay, well, that's probably a good time, because those other companies out there are horrible. So,
Yeah.
and I was a part of one of them. I did Uber, and then I think I did 3 Lyft rides in my lifetime, and said I'm not ever doing that again. But that was just me.
Well, if you can't, well, the thing about, well, before we move on and I start sidetracking us, one of the things that I really appreciate about what you just said is the mentorship that you received by your community. And that is one of the things that we recognize at PAX, that this, this market has really torn drivers apart and really pitted them against each other in the way that they have to work so hard for these terrible rides. And so one of the things that we wanted to bring to the market, or bring to this community, was that community, that personal connection on going, look, there are so many good people in this business that want to help one another and want to belong in that community, where it feels good when you're a part of a community of people that are watching out for each other and helping one another. And just like you, learning tricks from the trade or being mentored by people who know how to break the coconut open and then show you how to do it. You're like, man, that's a really good idea. And so that's that's funny that you mentioned the marketing idea that you had. And I want to talk about that in detail, because that's exactly what I want to get you on the podcast to talk about today. Is as we're, this messaging that we're trying to communicate and recommunicate to all drivers, like, you don't have to sit back and wait for rides anymore. We've got these QR codes that are personal to you that you can use to help close anybody whether it's for another app or they're picking somebody up or somebody just on the side of the road needs a ride, make sure that they know that they can book your service, specifically you again, by using PAX. And we back to your splits and where you started with taking 50% and keeping your tips. That's one of the things we wanted to do was get like how could we give the most amount possible to the driver? And so we came up with a 65-35 split where we still cover the insurance, all your insurances, all your airport fees. We cover all those things and you still keep 100% of your tips. You work for that. Those are yours. That's our mentality is always give the driver the best case, the best possible scenario that we can give. So they love to be a part of our community because when you find that community and you find people who have a heart to help one another and work together and come up with ideas that look it's like, look, if I'm out there alone, I have to work really hard. But when it's all of us and we put this level of professionalism and we put our etiquette and we put all of these things, we raise the bar constantly, then people know when the word's going to spread that there's a team here of people that love professionalism, love working together, and really love that personal connection. That's another thing we've talked a lot about on this podcast is the industry is moving farther and farther away from the human connection. It's like they're trying to remove the driver from all the scenarios where people like you, Larry, that really bring a personal connection. A lot of people love that. Like that's another thing I really love about our drivers is, and I've said it several times too, is we need to get a driver roundtable together where drivers just tell their stories because there's not a lot of people out there that get exposure to that roundtable and get to hear those amazing stories. But I do because I get to hang out with you guys all the time. But some of the stories that you guys get to just help people or advise people or just be a listening ear to people who want to like they just want somebody to talk to. It's really cool the opportunities you get to really interact and be that personal connection for a lot of people just because they're in your car as a captive audience for
Yeah.
the time of their ride.
Right.
So back to your marketing. I know I wanted to hit those two pieces before we moved on into your marketing idea, which was a brilliant idea. You called me up and after having your idea going, hey, those things that we put in cars, which is a personal placard that helps advertise when somebody's sitting in your car for whatever reason. It says, hey, if you want to book me again, book me on PAX and you can use this QR code to do it. And then you said, hey, I really like the way that thing looks. I don't want to ask you to do too much work, but could you just format that to be a mailer? And I was like, Larry, this is exactly what we're looking for is really good ideas and people who want to champion those so that we can talk about them, tell other people how they're growing their business. And so I'm going to pull that up right now just so people can see exactly what it is I'm talking about. Let me pull it up here. And so this is the one that I edited for you specifically. And the one that goes in
Right.
the back of the ride has a picture of a black car service. And then there's a QR code, but it's not branded with Larry. Well, you wanted one branded with Larry. So that's what we did, where it just says sit back, relax. You're riding with PAX. And that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on is the peace of mind that you get when you ride with PAX. uh, what we wanted to do was create something for you that you could send as a mailer to let people know, like, hey, if you're looking for a personal driver, I'd love to be that for you. Here's an easy way to connect with me. Use the QR code, and that opens up your profile. They can book you on the app using that QR code. So, how'd that go? Walk us through not just the idea or the how you generated the idea. Talk us more about how did you do it? Who did you contact? What did you send them? What was the approval process like? Because if I'm a driver and I'm watching this right now, I'm like, yeah, I want to do a mailer. How do I even start that? And where would I send it? Questions like that. Can you answer some of those for us?
Yeah. Yeah. A couple things. One is that it's the way that PAX operates, and they say grow your business. You have the chance to grow your business, and then it's all based off of the profile. So your profile or any of the PAX driver profiles actually directs whatever business that is generated through them. So that means that if I'm coming in and I've got 10 rides and I can't do that, those are still 10 rides that I generated for PAX actually, and myself as well. But I can't do that. I can't be in 10 places at one time. So the system that you guys put together is that, look, we have a team, which is good because I don't have 100 cars. So the team It's my 100 cars that's going to work for me, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I saw. And so then I said, okay, so we can do that. And then they said, and then, we can percentage, we do a percentage thing. And I've talked to you about that briefly, but I was saying, okay, I get that concept and I understand that. So then when I talk about the people I do know versus I don't know, then that's what I start thinking about. When we talk about the ability to create more, and then even if I think you were saying something, or we were talking about something. You said 10,000 drivers, right? We need 10,000 customers or drivers or
Riders. Yep.
whatever
Yep.
that was. And I was thinking that, okay, well, that sounds not like what I was thinking. I was thinking I need to try and do something that can generate between 50,000 and 100,000 under my profile, because
Yep. That's right.
the percents that you're working with actually work then. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like, okay, so like I'm 70 years old, man. I want to quit.
I want to get to the end, but yep.
I got a couple years to get that 50,000 to 100,000,
Yeah.
people that are saying, okay, we all fell into that profile right there. So it's just the way that, I see things a little different, or I guess I said to myself, when I change the way I look at things, the things I look at will change. So
Yeah.
let me do this. But in answer to the question, I started looking at some of the stuff I used to do. So I knew where to go. And so I knew that, okay, well, then if I want to do this, I have to actually get to a mailing house, because a mailing house has everybody's information. Right. I'm talking about throughout the United States. I don't care. I could send this same thing to Texas, and
Yep.
they'll be calling up saying, hey, in Phoenix, they got this guy. I don't know why we're in Texas, but he sent us some stuff, right? So you can go anywhere you want to go. You can pick out whatever demographics you like, because today you said something earlier about, it looks like they're trying to get away from drivers and that whole thing. Autonomous driving is going to be a big deal. But the thing is that autonomous driving is really big for that younger generation. And every driver out there knows when they get one of those kids in the car and they're looking at their phone and they're not saying anything to you. They don't acknowledge the fact that you are even there, because they're just into that phone and they don't want to talk. They don't want to do anything. They want to get out the car and rate you for some reason. Did he get 5 stars or whatever? And it's like, dude, you never said one word after I said hello, right? So you're dealing with this. You're dealing with, this is today's market.
Reality.
This is
Yep.
what, yeah, this is the reality of today, right? So with all that going on, I was like, okay, that's going to happen. But what I need to do is, I don't want to go after that market. That's not the market that I'm looking for. So you have to be able to pick the market that you want as a driver. And everyone knows what their best kind of riders are. You've done enough rides. I mean, like 2012 is when I started this. I've done, thousands of rides. So I can say what good riders are. Okay. And so I said, okay, then this is the actual demographic that I want. So when I went to the mailing house, I gave them that information. And then I also said, okay, now I want people of a certain income that I want to deal with. I want people that are travelers, that have businesses, and they do all these things. And so anyway, we based that whole thing around what I wanted. And what I've experienced in my driving time is the best type of customers that I've ever had. And so there's a couple words that I try and use even in putting this thing together. It's professionalism is a key word, experience is a key word, and excellent is a key word. So, experience professionalism, experience excellence, those are things that I focus on in the group that I chose. And so I went to areas, as far as areas go. With that, you can pick and choose the zip codes you want. I mean, like the zip codes that I looked at, there were over 19,000 people that fit the
Description of what you're. Yeah.
in that description, right? And then
Yep.
so I wanted to narrow that down just a little bit more. And so anyway, it ended up being around 5,000 people in the narrowing that down. So again, these are something you have to know, because I've done this before. Here's what I know. That postcard that I'm sending out, the main thing that I was trying to do and looking for is that you're looking for 7 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Everybody knows when they get mail, they have junk mail. How long do you look at that junk mail before? Sometimes you see it and you don't even look. You just put it with the other stuff that's going into the trash. So here's something that you have to know. You have to do something and you have to shoot for seconds.
Yep.
That's what it's
Yep.
about. It's
Yep.
about seconds. And you have to know that you're looking to go between maybe a 0.5% to 3% of capture rate.
That's yeah, I'm gonna slow you down there because that's a very important factor. And it sounds like really the percentages you're coming at here are from experience. This is what you've experienced from doing mailers in the past and really kind of what you expect from the mailer you just did, correct? Is that
Right.
correct?
Right.
And so can you what's that? Say those percentages one more time,
So
just in case.
you're looking for between a 0.5% to 3%. Anything over that is a
Like
home
a
run.
yeah, it's like a smash success. Right. Yeah, yeah.
It's like you're the new kid on the block because you just picked up a good deal. And then the other thing is that most mail houses and all those type of things, they have like a minimum of, okay, well, you got to at least start with 2,500,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
or
How many did you
2,000 or
do? You decided to do 7,000? Is that what you said?
well, the first run is again, that's my test market with trying to see what I can capture that 3 seconds to 7 seconds. So roughly about 2,500 in a particular area where there's
25.
about 5,000. So it's something that I have to do more than once. You have to do it more than once. I mean, some people don't even see anything. If you ever looked at a Vow Pack or whatever, that comes to your house every month or whatnot, you may see the same thing in there 7 times before somebody looks at it or whatever. But again,
Well, and there's something to be said about market awareness. Just the fact of like we've started to experience that too, just with my marketing background. And there's something to be said about how many times somebody sees you, like their first impression versus their third or fourth impression, where they finally start going, "Hey, I know these guys and I kind of like it." Even if their first impression was a good one and they don't convert, like it takes a couple times, 6 or 7 times of going, you know what, I should try that. Like I've seen them around enough times and they gain enough trust in the brand that they're like, you know, I think I'm gonna try that. That shortens when they get a recommendation from somebody
right,
almost to 1 or 2 times. And so like when you're thinking about marketing, you that word of mouth, when you're talking about yourself is really hard to convert people. But when other people talk about your service, it's a lot easier for that conversion to happen. And so that's like even getting them aware that you're out there, that's super beneficial, even if you have a 3% conversion rate. I would love we you can't gain you can't really measure the analytics for how many people saw it, looked at it, and decided not to do anything with it.
right,
But what you start to realize is the market warms up to your brand. People start recognizing you, and we hit the ground on February 1st, but we've been doing these events over and over again, and it's really cool. I've been to all of them, on the curb promoting and telling people our story. And you start to see some of the same faces that kind of gravitate towards the brand. And all of a sudden they'll be like, "Hey, I saw you out at that other event. I really like what you guys do." That's really encouraging because you made an impression enough that they remember who you are and they're curious, like they're warming up. And so that one person, there's probably 100 people that didn't stop by to say something. And so when you start to see that acknowledgement of your brand from other people that are around in the markets you're fishing in, it's starting to work. And like our numbers are still continuing to grow. We're already at 660, and we were at 630 the last time I did a podcast, last week or something like that. So our numbers are growing. Like people like you, Larry, that are growing your own business and using packs to do it, you're if you send out 2,500 mailers, that's another 2,500 opportunities for somebody to be warmed up to our story, to hear what we're doing. And I was going to mention, you were talking about mailers is a fantastic way to do it. There's also the same kind of strategic marketing you can do on with Meta, and you can do it. And you don't, even if you're not a guru on Facebook and you don't want to put a bunch of you on Facebook, you can still start Facebook marketing. And you can, as long as you have an account, you can set up ads that you want to promote on Facebook that go specifically to your demographic in what area codes you want to advertise to. And it's the same thing as a mailer that you get actual analytics with, and it's really affordable. It's like $20. Well, you get 500 impressions or something like that, which now you're not paying just for the mailer to hit the mailbox. You're paying for that person to pick it up and look at it. And so there's a lot of opportunity, and that's one of the things that in some of these master classes that we're going to be putting together is we really just want to educate drivers. Like, if you got a good idea, like Larry, tell us what it is, because you're the professional in the business. Tell us how to help you, and we will help you. That's our commitment to go. If you got a good idea, we want to tell all these drivers, because we want to change the industry for good. We want people to go, no, I'm not, even with this, the younger demographic, we want them. The reason a lot of them don't want to talk when they're in the cars, because they want to be in their phone, they want to be in their isolated little bubble, but nobody wants a car without a driver. Like, think about how filthy that car would be. And like, just nobody wants that. And I know people use it for reasons, but if the autonomous driver community explodes, I also think that there's going to be a market of people that go, I don't like that. I want a better option than the $5 Uber that shows up at my house. I want I want service, and that's PAX. We want drivers who want to deliver a professional service, an elite experience that knows how to read the room. You're a professional driver. If you got a bad day and you just want to sit in your bubble, great, I'll be your driver. But if you're having a great day and you want to talk, oh, great, I'll talk to you. Those
Right.
are That's the professional driver experience that we want to bring to the table. I'm looking for people who have those great ideas and go, yep, that's what I want to invest in. I'm looking like I don't have to capture or even be disappointed that I'm not capturing the people that want an autonomous experience. I just want the people who I want the if I'm going fishing, I know the fish I'm going after. I know the lure to use. I know where I'm supposed to fish. Do I go to a lake or do I go to a river? What is it that you're going after? And if you're going after that big salmon, or if you're going after that big, you don't want to catfish, you're going to have to use the right bait. And so that's what, yeah. So everything from Facebook, we want to put together master classes that teach drivers how to do that if they've never done it. If somebody's never done a mailer, go talk to Larry, or write us an email. And the beauty of our community is if you got good ideas, we'll put you on a podcast. We'll talk about how to do it. So Larry, as a recap here, if you want to do a mailer, you got to find a mailing house, correct? You got a good reference. Which one is the one that you use? Just if somebody's like, hey, I'm going to go Google this, what would they Google?
Axel something out of Nebraska. I
Okay. So
but they were out of Nebraska, and then I'll give you that information. You can throw it on the chat,
on the
or
chat. Perfect. That's a
yeah,
great way to do it.
you can do that. But they were good. They were easy to work with, but they
And then
took
they target by zip code, correct?
well, they targeted based off of what I said to them that I wanted. So they helped me understand that. And then I gave all the demographics, all of everything that I needed, because I'm after a particular area of
Niche.
town.
Yeah.
And, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I got the right lure and all those things going where there's not a lot of people going. They're like autonomous cars. There's areas that they won't go into
Can't go into. Yeah.
and
Correct.
can't. And
Yep.
so, so I'm reaching out to that area. And then there's a lot of areas where a lot of drivers don't want to go. I mean, if you're not over in, like, say, Queen Creek or Santan, you don't want to be in West Phoenix, and then all your business is going into Santan. That's like a 2 hour, trip every
Yep.
day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't want that. So you gotta find the area where the fishing is good and the landscape is good. So today, uh, baby boomers, Gen Z, and all these acronyms for all these different groups,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to say, okay, well then this is who I want to work with, and so you try and that's who you try and work with. It's pleasant. You know that you're going to get what you're looking for. It's funny. My wife, we were riding in a car one day, and my wife said, "Well, Larry, what should we tip her?" And I said, "Babe, I'm in the business for tipping, right?" I said, "But first, tell me, what did this person do that would make you say that they deserve a tip?" I said, "Did they open the door for us? Did they open the trunk? Did they
Uh,
did they put their luggage in? Did they say anything to us like, 'How's your day?' after we said hello?" You know, I said, "Did they say anything?" She said, "No." I said, "Then what are you talking to me about?
what am I tipping you for? Yeah. Yeah.
What are you talking about?" No, our business is excellence, expectations that we have to meet for the person that is sitting in that car, and an experience where they want to say, "I want that person again because my experience was different than anything." I've had people say, this is the best ride I've ever had. And I'm not just saying that. I'm saying
And
they actually
that's
said,
a catch.
he said,
That's when you're like, I
I've been
got
on
that
a
pitch.
lot of rides, and they said this is the best ride that I've ever had. Okay, now here's the flip side of that. I've had Uber person ride with me that was young kid. And we drove for 3 minutes and they've given me a $5 tip saying, dude, this was a great ride. So it's not that the person that I'm carrying around, it's the attitude and the understanding as a driver that we have to treat everyone like when they get in that car, they were the rock star. We had a rock star today. Which one
Mhm.
was it? The kid
Yeah,
down the
yeah.
street,
Yep.
right?
No, that's a
Okay.
great.
And so
I'm gonna use that. Yeah.
you have to have that.
Yeah.
And see, they even do that in commercials. They talk about that Rockstar commercial. They say Rockstar one more time, I'm tearing this place up, right? But the truth is that you have to give everyone the attention that is needed in order for you to be the professional, and you deliver excellence, professionalism, and an experience that they say, man, I wish I could get all my rides like this.
Yeah. And there's a when somebody that professionalism is obvious. When they don't value it, it's also obvious. And a tip is a really good indicator of that. But also, so is the way that they interact with you and value who you are as a human being. There's I heard a wise quote, and I'm gonna murder this, I'm sure, or I don't know who said it, but they were like, hey, what, you can tell me all day who you are, but you show me five of your friends and I'll tell you who you are. And because we become so much like the people we hang out with. And here's what I love about that is when you find somebody that values your service, chances are they've got four or five other people who probably value the same things. And so one of the best things in marketing is converting that passenger when they value you. It's not just saying thank you, it's really thanking them for the value of the service that you're bringing and going, look, like you understand what you just got. It wasn't just a pickup and a drop off. This is a solution to a problem. You didn't have a ride. I gave you one, but I gave you a service on top of that. When they value that, go, hey, tell your friends there's a better option than just an autonomous vehicle or a $5, app ride that God knows what condition that car's going to show up in, or whether, like there's a service, there's a private driver that somebody can hire for the ride. And at the end of the month, here's a shameless plug, we're going to be able to do hourly rates, so that drivers we're another opportunity for drivers to go, I don't want to just drive from A to B. Hire me for the day. You want to go up to Vegas? You want to go down to Tucson and watch a U of A game, or you want to go? You have a couple people flying into town for a couple hours. I'll drive you around town. Like we want to open up that opportunity and still cover you in insurance and still make that available to drivers to again find those clients that we have some drivers that want to do bridal parties. There's other drivers that just want to do professional executives. Those two markets aren't the same. So
No,
find the one that you want to be successful at, and you don't have to be in the bridal industry. The bachelorette party or bachelor party if you don't want to be. You can, like Larry's talking about, you can go fishing for the specific clients that you want to and grow your business. That's the beauty of PAX is you're not waiting around for us to throw you fish. We're giving you a fishing pole. Go fish. Go pass out your business card at valet stations and in high end places. If you're looking for high end clients, go when you're at an Airbnb. Ask who owns the Airbnb and give them a placard that's like, look, don't just get an app to get a car if you need it around town. These guys are in town. Have them book with me. I'll give them a discount. Those kind of things that will help you grow your business. Do it with PAX. And so I love that. I'm going to title the title of your podcast here later is going to be treat everyone like a rock star. And know your worth. Expect people to treat you with respect back. You're giving them a service. You're providing a solution to their problem, and they should value that. Always be looking for ways to raise the bar. Always be looking for creative ways to expand and grow your business. And don't wait. If you're on PAX, you got a PAX app, Don't wait for us to throw you fish. Go out and tell people you can schedule me directly. Use your QR codes for that. If you don't have your personal business cards, email me at contact@paxapp.io and ask for them. I will give them to you. We've got about 20, 30 drivers that are already doing that and are converting rides. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Luke's podcast. He talked all about that on his podcast on how he was able to convert 3 riders in one day. It's awesome. You want to talk about conversion rates? 3 in one day is not bad to create lifer riders out of that. So, Larry, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for your time. It was a very good idea talking about mailers. And if you're interested in that, contact me with contact@paxapp.io, and we can set up a mailer for you as well. Or if you want to do a targeted effort in Facebook through Meta, if there's something you want to do that's an ad that you want to do specifically for your business, we can help you do that. So please reach out. If you got good ideas, let us know, because just like Larry, we're going to take those good ideas and teach other drivers how to catch fish, because that's what it's all about, help making an environment where you guys are all successful. And the whole goal is to get every driver taking 4 rides, 5 rides, 5 days a week. If you can do that, you're going to be living large. And your business will be, like Larry said, you're going to be taking so many rides, you're going to be looking to pass them off for those referral rates that we got coming in the fall. So, all right, with that, thank you, Larry, for today. Thank you for joining me today. If you've been watching online, thank you for joining me online. We'll see you next time. And that's all we got for today. So, adios.
Thanks, Daniel.